Have No Cares. It's the day after the Hibernian came to visit, so it must be special guest Simon, Hibs expert. How are you, Simon?
I'm in the worst possible place I could be emotionally, mentally and rectally right now.
Is that because you went out and celebrated wildly that we managed to scrape a draw against the famous Hibernian Football Club?
It was just, I had to medicate myself after all those beans that Jason Cummins unleashed all over my face.
He's known for unleashing.
Yep.
I'm Nicole Hay.
I'm Robert Borthwick.
And you are most welcome to the We Have No Cares podcast. So, we've got some idea of how Simon's feeling after yesterday's result. Do you want to give me a general impression of your mental well-being, Robert? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I mean, generally speaking, I think we played our toughest game of the season. Yes, our toughest league game of the season anyway.
Yeah.
Hibs really turned up, played well and deserved their point.
Yes, indeed. But they're always going to say that they almost won. You know, they deserved more from it, which they can go fling a fuck at themselves for that, because we have players who can score from miles out and they don't.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
They do have players that can cross from miles out, but let's get to that later.
Okay.
So the game kicked off with Hearts in more or less the formation that we expected, though Jamie Walker starting for Billy King.
Yes.
Just a little odd after he tore it up against Livingston.
Yes.
Solid midfield three, short and quick front three.
Yep.
Against Hibs' now famous midfield diamond.
Famed all over the world.
Yeah. Feared on all corners of this footballing globe, with Robertson dictating from the base, Craig striding majestically.
Craig being a cunt.
He is their central cunt. Pulls all the cunt strings in the middle of their cunt field.
Yep.
How do you feel about Liam Craig, Simon?
Sorry man, I was just envisaging my own death there. He's possibly one of the most infuriating folk to watch, because all he seems to do is spend the entire time moaning at a referee. It's like when you go to a pub and you see like a really fucking vinegar-faced bird just spending the whole night bitching at her man for no reason. Just like that's fucking constant for 90 minutes, just like in the referee's face and moaning, and there seems to be no real basis for it. It's just like, the fuck are you all about, you big ginger prick?
Are you saying that the referees aren't keeping Liam Craig to the lifestyle that he's become accustomed?
I'd personally fucking donkey punch the cunt every time he came over to a referee, just to fucking nip that shit in the bud. He was at it for about the third minute. I think it was like Gomez or somebody got fouled, and he was like right on top of Gomez, like not like in a sexy way. And then he was right over at the ref, and that just fucking continued for 90 minutes. It's one of the things about modern day football that I find fucking infuriating, that there's no like respect for a referee. But like you're allowed to constantly badger a referee, and next to fuck all gets done about it.
Yeah.
So respect and donkey punches. That's why we're endorsing Simon's candidacy for the chief executive of the SPFL.
Yeah, absolutely. I want you to go on a Michael Stewart style 2.5 hour rant.
I'll get us a sponsor in fucking no time.
Yes, but the most important part of the Hibernian midfield was young Alan Scott. Scott Allen? Yeah. It's almost like I did that on purpose.
It happened again.
I have genuinely no idea what his name is.
Yeah.
But he played very well, I thought.
Well, you know, what do you expect coming from the greatest midfielder the world's ever seen, according to many Hibs fans.
Yeah, according to many Hibs fans who are also absolute experts in world football, which is, why they don't go to Easter Road.
Yeah, that's a good point.
When you're a connoisseur of the beautiful game, you stay away.
You tend to steer clear. Yeah.
So the game actually kind of started with a wee signal about how things were going to go. An innocent enough for a forward by Hibernian, and Ali Mushtak took the ball and then sort of almost passed it forward, but almost took like a heavy touch under zero pressure at all. Ended up with the ball like 10 yards away from him for no reason.
I don't know what happened. He did the exact same on his debut at Ibrox and gave it to Kenny Miller, and it was genuinely the exact same. It was like, a lovely weighted pass to the opposition. So, there you go. It was thoroughly bizarre, but He's maybe just getting back into the swing of things after having only missed one game all season.
yeah, he's covered in rust now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did mean that Cummings could unleash a snapshot at Alexander, who did well to parry.
Yes, indeed. That's basically all that Jason Cummings does. He just shoots.
Well, sometimes they go into the net, so that's fine.
Well, that's true, but he's another one that's been bummed up to be amazing, and I don't really see it with him, to be honest. I can see why we released him.
Oh, a damning indictment there.
Aye, well, he's a cock. I call a spade. This boy's a bell end.
I would like it if Hearts' recruitment policy was based on a strict no dickheads filter.
Get him out the door, aye.
Yeah, well, that was the first half. Robbie's tactics seemed to be... He expected Hibs to press us, and press as they did. So Robbie, it really seemed like he instructed us to sit back and let them tire themselves out, which is okay, except they did score a goal, so that wasn't ideal.
It's okay if they don't score a goal. You can kind of say, good half, but in this case they did score a goal. In fact. And
it was quite a good goal, wasn't it, Simon? Do you remember anything about it? Can you summon this from the depths of your soul?
No, no, it was a good. I watched the replays of it again this morning, and I stick to what I said to you guys last night in the pub, that it felt like Ozturk kind of got lost between not knowing whether he should check if there's a man in the box and try to keep an eye on the flight of the ball, and then there's just as the ball drops into Cummins, he sort of stops to look to see where Cummins is, and that's when he gets in. It's like a beautiful pass, so you can kind of see why it threw Ozturk a little bit, but it was a lovely pass and it was a lovely tidy finish. Well, it's quite hard to miss for like 6 yards out.
Aye.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I've seen some curmudgeons in our support suggesting that. Right, is he Alan Scott or is he Scott Allen?
Scott Allen. Yeah.
That Scott Allen isn't a good footballer, but like when you see it on the replays, like Gomez is actually marking him quite well. Like he's in front of him, he's reasonably close to him, he's not getting too tight so that he can't go past him, and he just whips a beautiful curling ball around him. Now, your argument about Ozturk, I think would stand up if we were marking zonally, but I don't think we were. I think Jason Cummings was his man, and he just didn't have a fucking clue where he was.
Yeah. As I say, I think sorry, I'd lost my mind temporarily.
That's basically the sound my bum made when I was that shit.
That's we have no cares at gmail.com if you want to email in some praise.
I think it was, a lot can be said for how good the ball in was, to be honest with you. It's a very, very difficult ball to defend, but I haven't watched it again. At the time I thought it was just a great ball. I haven't watched it again. Ozturk does get lost a wee bit. Cummings sort of goes in behind him. It was a good ball, decent goal, but I think it could have been defended slightly better, to be honest.
And I think that kind of is indicative of Ozturk's performance in general today. He was all right later in the game defensively, but his general awareness and especially his use of the ball was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, he wasn't at his best.
He looked out of sorts, man. It was like not like the first it's like a cliche thing that idiots shout at the football. It's like you've never played together, but it was like he hadn't played for a while.
Yeah,
he looked rusty. Like a lot of people's touches were fucking minging yesterday as well, but just I got the fear a couple of times when he got the ball in the first half. You're like you looked like you could do another shoddy back pass. But then he fucking finished really strongly. Like some of his defending at the very end was second to none.
Well, his last ditch defending, especially just getting blocks, getting bodies in the way was, that was fine. But like I say, it was when he had to be sort of aware of where Hibs players were, and especially his cross field passes. There were a few times he tried to send a long ball over to Nicholson or to Eckersley, and it just didn't even end up in the same postal district. We had to get Yodel to forward it onto him, and that's always a terrible idea. And to be fair to Aleem, he wasn't the only one who was shaky. Callum Patterson had a fairly dreadful game on the ball today.
Yeah.
He also misplaced a lot of passes, made some very, very poor decisions about when to cross, when to try and beat a man.
But again, last-ditch defending I thought was great, especially in the second half when they were getting balls into the middle. I mean, the clearance that Patterson made pretty much off the head of Malonga with an overhead kick. It actually didn't make any sense how he got to it. Like, it was because that was a tap-in for Malonga.
I'm just amazed that he was able to play after that, because it looked like he'd stretched his willy into all sorts of dimensions after that.
He was like Stretch Armstrong. He was looking great. Expect him to get back up and his leg was in a knot.
But like you said, I mean, like, for the result that we eventually ended up having, that sort of last-ditch defending was key. But
Yes.
it perhaps indicates why we were so limited in our creativity and going forwards, especially in the first half when our use of the ball from the back was quite so poor. I mean, like, in the first half, we were, well, certainly for the first half hour or so, we were very limited in the chances that we had. We just had a couple of headers from Danny Wilson from set pieces, which kind of ended up being neither fish nor fowl. We couldn't tell whether he was trying to play them back across the box or head towards goal. I'm not sure even he knew. No,
he just like jumping.
just loves a jump.
I was too mesmerised by his hair to give a fuck what he was doing with the ball. He looked fucking majestic every time he ran or like jumped for the ball. It was just...
Was it because he's got a very similar haircut to you?
The guy's got pretty fucking great taste, like.
Hibs did have another great chance that fell to Cummings. Stevenson put in a good deep cross, kind of similar position to Scotty Allen McScottinson's cross from the other side of the pitch. I honestly, like, even now you've told me, I can't remember if it's Scott Allen or Alan Scott. I just don't know.
That's fine, it's okay.
And yeah, like, Cummings was kind of left all alone to put a strong header just wide. That was also kind of maybe there should be more marking going on.
Aye, but it was one of the shannest headers I've ever seen. he obviously doesn't have a tin of beans in his head. it was an absolute fucking shocker. I've seen it again a few times in the replays. It is a minging header. Like,
he gets a good amount of power onto it.
Yeah, but he heads it in the exact wrong direction from what you're taught to head a ball, from the age of 5.
So you're saying that Jason Cummings isn't very good at using his head?
Ah, well, actually, no, that checks out.
yeah, that seems to compare well with all the evidence we've had.
Aye, yes.
Over the time. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
He's an idiot.
I think if you shook him by the neck, his head would make that sound that an empty spray can makes.
So after that, we did have a decent chance through Jamie Walker. Sam put in a cross which Oxley flubbed at. I think is the only correct word.
Flubbed.
Yep. I think that's the sound his wrist made as it made contact with the ball. Just a sort of general. And then it fell out to Jamie inside the box.
Aye, and he sort of toe bashed it at the end. Really, kind of did all the hard stuff right, and then fucked it up at the end.
Yeah.
Managed to manufacture a bit of space for himself quite well.
He's quite good at that, Walker. I think he's not really got that yard of pace to like really ghost past the player. Like 2 or 3 players can do it with a bit of momentum, but he's able to work his body pretty well and get the ball away from his feet.
Good hip work.
Yes, he's got lovely hips.
Yeah.
Childbearing hips, hopefully.
But that was sort of it's quite funny. Obviously, after Scott Robertson got sent off and conceded a penalty in the last derby, there was 2 times when he was tracking Walker into the box, and he actually just left him alone. He was like, "Nope. No, not happening again. You can't fool me, you pesky jambos." Aye,
Put in a really good challenge on Walker as well in the box. Robertson, like when Jamie Walker had just let the ball run just like the right amount to take him past Robertson, and you thought he's going to fucking bin him here, this will be great, and then he like fucking credit to him, because usually Hibs players would be doing big fucking slides into the back of your spine, but like just left him, and if it wasn't for that, it would have been a penalty.
I'm just imagining like East Mains has got all those training dummies set up with like targets on the back of it. Just here.
All on the spine.
If the man can't walk, he can't score a goal.
Sound tactics.
Yeah. But this was funny though, because like just shortly after this led to like one of my most fabulous bits of punditry. There was a movement where Jamie Walker sort of recovered the ball in midfield and played a magnificent pass down the wing inside the fullback for Eckersley to get onto it, and then just stood still and provided absolutely no support. So I turned to Simon and I said, "Walker, he's been good when he gets the ball, but he's not working hard enough to get it. I think he's a bit of a passenger here." And then what happened, Robert?
It must have been a couple of minutes later. It was Where did it come from? There's a ball dropped to Eckersley on the left.
Yeah.
And they played it inside to Walker, who let it sort of roll across him, which was kind of ideal because Alan Scott, Scott Allen. He
Can't stop doing that. Go on.
he sort of Scott Allen didn't really get close enough to him at all, and he he fucked it right in. It was great.
he just decided that time, distance, and space was no question, no object. He created a wormhole.
And again, it was as the Hibs fans were singing a song about him. Singing a song about his sister's.
Does he even have a sister?
I don't think so. No.
Like, we all know he's got a fucking wild, creepy brother, but like, does he have a? Like, is there a sister?
I don't think so.
You're just going to get singing what the fuck you want in football now with no sort of basis in reality.
Basically,
well, his fans were singing about how they were going to win, so I guess yes.
But no, it was great. I mean, Oxley got absolutely nowhere near it, much like the Ozturk goal and Nicholson goals that preceded it. So yeah,
it's because his positioning was fucking horrific.
It was minging.
The GoPro angle we actually see right behind Oxley and goals, and when Walker moves inside, like moves into like the edge of the box, instead of like moving with like Walker's movement and bring himself in the middle of the goals, he just stands at his near post.
Aye.
And he's like, nothing bad could possibly happen here. So what's going to happen? I think I'll just think about doing some more time wasting. And then it got fucking spunked into the top corner.
Aye. I think even if his positioning was spot on, it was still a pretty unstoppable strike. It's right into the side netting. Like it's an absolute sweetie.
It's an absolute rocket.
Indeed. And then he got booked for his celebration, much like Cummings did as well. Actually, that's right.
So consistency. That's what we like and appreciate.
I still think it's a joke rule.
If you go into the opposition fans and start fisting somebody to death, then you should probably get a booking for that. If you run past them and you're like, oh shush, be quiet, like that's fine.
Yeah.
If you point at your name, like I'm not got any problem with that. If you're doing something like genuinely offensive, like you should get a booking for it. But just like, you're getting booked for like in terms of like proximity. That's it. Like you're quite close.
Yeah.
That was more or less the first half. 1-1 it was. I think it'd be fair to say that Hibs were the better team in that first half.
Yeah, I think so.
Overall, I don't think it's a particularly supportable game plan to rely on wonder strikes to get us out of a hole against Hibs every time. But if it keeps on happening, then I'm not going to complain one bit.
Who gives a fuck? Basically, 3 wonder strikes has got us 5 points against us this season, so I'll take that.
And also 3 wonder strikes that we got to watch and cheer, lose our fucking minds about. So
no, that's also true. 100%.
So I'm down with that. But after, possibly the best thing that happened all day, we had the greatest halftime of all time. Did you see it this time? Did you stick around?
I did. I was going for a cigarette, and then I heard sort of Scott Wilson saying, "Oh, we've got guests." So I ran back out and. And I think I stood in front of a person in a wheelchair. But yeah, I watched
Pushed them out the chair.
Out my way, it's Ryan McGowan.
Give this to Ryan, he shouldn't have to walk.
But yeah, no, Gowser and Mark De Vries coming on, giving the patter. It was good.
Well, Ryan McGowan winding up the Hibs fans. Something incredible.
He's fucking like the lad Bible and the sports Bible and lad culture and like fucking personified when it comes to like being like laddish and bamming up Hibs. He fucking does it so effortlessly. It's like, yeah.
So I think what you just said there was that he's Australian.
Aye, he's a total bogan, like.
But yeah, just like giving them like a wee thumbs up when he talked about scoring in a 5-1.
They're all booing him and he just thumbs down, gives like the wee cheeky thumbs up, like, yeah, 5-1.
Yeah, it was a great day. and I mean, like, it was disappointing that there wasn't actually a reason for it, but Mark De Vries coming out in full kit, I just really hoped he just decided to turn up in full kit just to wind people up.
Just goes everywhere in replica kits.
Yeah, I just really, like, hoped he was doing a John Terry or something like that. But like, I'm going on the pitch, I have to be in full kit. But no, it turned out that Mark De Vries, not quite as articulate as Gowser, but still managed to get it rammed right up all 4,000 Hibs.
What are your main memories of Tynecastle, Mark? Scored 4. Cool, cheers, man.
Great memories they were.
Yep.
He's actually had a serious mental collapse, and that's all I can say now.
Scored
time is it? Well, there's 4 goals.
Works for me.
Yep.
And then there was like a penalty shootout with
Nah, I missed that.
The best bit about that penalty shootout was like the wee Hibs under 17s goalkeeper came out and got told by somebody at Hearts like to go at the Hibs end, and then everybody else went up to the goals at the Gorgie Road end. And Scott Wilson was like, "Oh, what joker's told you to go to those goals, back you come." And as he ran the length of the pitch, like all the Wheatfield just started going, "Penis, penis," mocking this like 14-year-old lad.
We have been told that he's the under 17 keeper, and we just thought, well, this seems appropriate.
Fuck him. My dad's a dick.
And then we got to boo Mickey Weir, which is always fun.
Was Mickey Weir there? Oh,
Yeah.
I missed that.
She's a weird shape, like doesn't make sense as a human being at all.
So we began the second half with the wonderful news that David Gray's 70-year-old groin finally gave up, and he was replaced by Callum Booth to no discernible effect.
You know David Gray's only like 25.
Fuck off.
That makes no sense. He's in his like mid-20s.
Did he have the same paper round as Arjen Robben?
He actually looks about 40.
Like paper round inside a volcano during a nuclear war. I don't understand.
Yeah, he looks old. That's the joke.
Thanks for deconstructing that one. Yeah.
Not a problem. He was surprised he started in the first place because he was fucked beforehand. Like he was a sort of, maybe they think he's some sort of talisman.
Well, he sensationally opened the scoring against the Rangers, or did he? Or did he score the second?
Yeah,
it was the first one.
He did. Yeah, that was a good goal. Yeah.
It was a good goal.
I remember Paul McMullen scoring a goal like that once. Wonder where he ended up.
Inside David Gray's groin.
Punching it.
just speculation at this stage.
Yep.
If you know the whereabouts of Paul McMullen or David Gray's groin, please
let us
email.
know.
So one of the first things that happened in that half was a penalty shout for Hibs. Danny Handling came into the box. Well, he was sort of near Miguel Pallardo's flawless hip. He went sprawling in an incredible fashion.
Yeah.
I don't know what it looked like from your section, but like from our section, me and Simon were very dismissive of whether or not it was actually a penalty.
Was it? Fuck. Seriously, it was never. And then Stubbs was sort of complaining about it in the post-match interview, saying that, well, I think we should have had a penalty. Danny Handling, the lad, with his hip, he's gone in, and then they showed a replay of it, and for a start, Danny Handling was never getting on the end of that cross. And secondly, Pallardo doesn't really touch him. Danny Handling just does a Superman impression.
He's already left the ground, Hanley. He's already misjudged the flight of the ball, and then Pallardo comes into him, so he's already off the ground. He's already not going to win the ball, and then he just sort of fucking flops.
Aye, yeah.
That's what makes it hard for referees. Like, see if somebody falls to the ground on as a result of a challenge, or somebody gets tackled, and then start rolling about. Like, it makes it a lot harder for referees sometimes, I think, because you don't really know if it's it sort of guises how serious the foul is.
Yeah.
And it's like conning and cheating and stuff. Like, if he just went down, went down under the weight of that challenge, then the referee might have been like, actually, he's got him. But when you start throwing your arms in the air and it's overly dramatic, then you're making a rod for your own back at the same time as well.
Is this another donkey punchable offence?
I think you should get a fucking piping hot coffee enema. That'd sort him right out.
Yep.
Harsh but fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And cleanly.
I don't think Neil Doncaster's ever said the words piping hot coffee, so, except possibly to his hairdresser.
I think he says it every time he's in a sponsorship meeting.
we now know why we've got that sponsor.
Sitting down to talk to Iron Brew. It's sort of like, one of the ways we'd promote you is we'd be giving players piping hot coffee enemas in the centre circle at half time with Iron Brew splattered all over it. Sound good?
Picture it.
Why are you leaving?
Come back.
Great guy though, great guy. I don't know, I kind of thought, I saw an angle from behind the goal where it did kind of look like Miguel sambed his hip slightly into Handling in mid-air, but your point about him already being in the air and him being nowhere the ball, I think is valid. So fuck Danny Handling.
Yep, and fuck Hibernian.
Fucks all round.
Yep.
Fucks for everybody.
Then what happened?
What happened after that is that Adam Eckersley could have scored a goal.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, right enough. It was a ball in the middle from
Sam Nicholson.
It was Nicholson, yeah. He sort of went down to the byline, and Eckersley, I don't know what the fuck he was doing there, because it was basically just a breakaway, so he must have smelt an opportunity and got himself into the box. and he got above Callum Booth, I think it was at that time. From my angle, it looked like he could have done a lot better because Booth doesn't even really jump. Eckersley gets up there, it's kind of a free header, and he puts it in a position where Cummings should have put his header, which is back across the goalkeeper. But just not quite accurate enough.
It was a weird chance all in all, because Eckersley, he wasn't running onto the cross, he was basically standing still and sort of just jumped straight up, so it was really difficult for him to generate the power of direction.
I don't know when or how he got there. He just appeared in the box.
It's like absolute rush of blood to his beautifully coiffed head.
Like a ginger T1000, he just came out the ground.
But he returned the favour for Sam just a few minutes later when Eckersley rolled up the wing and put it across. I don't think I've ever seen Sam Nicholson head the ball before. He actually won quite a few today, which absolutely astonished me. But yeah, he directed a decent header to the near post.
He's got a good wee leap on him for quite a spindly foul. And he's not the tallest, but he seems to be quite effective there. If you notice, for the goal kicks in the second half as well, sometimes it would be Nicholson that would stay on the far right instead of balls being aimed to Patterson. So he's obviously got something about him. He probably fucking scores hunters in training.
To be fair, most of his headers were up against the raging dwarf that is Lewis Stevenson.
that is very true.
Yeah.
But occasionally Liam Craig was out there, cheating out there, trying to disrupt things. That's kind of an interesting point that you raised there. It was clearly,
Thanks.
Salient
point.
A clear tactic throughout the game was not actually to break too hard. You actually kind of you had like a wee debate with yourself in the stands, like every time Alexander caught the ball and about his distribution.
It was so basically every time Alexander collected the ball when we were getting penned in by Hibs, Nicholson was always out ball. Was like bolting up on the right hand side of the pitch, screaming for the ball, and every time Alexander held on to it, and in one respect, I've said Nicholson, it was like really infuriating because you thought quick ball out, hit him on the break, maybe get the winner, but at the same time you think hang on to it, you keep the ball, keep possession, start and work it for the back again, don't get cut out, because if you lump it long and he misses the flight of the ball, then Hibs have got 10 guys in our half and it puts more pressure on you. But it's just like we've done it before this season where he's played the quick balls out. But I don't know why we're not doing it.
There was a fair amount of frustration around me, and I kind of shared it in Alexander's distribution yesterday. It really wasn't up to his usual standard, because his distribution is usually fucking on point.
Some of his kicking wasn't great either.
It's like from feet, even thrown out. To be fair, Hibs were pressing very high up the parks to stop us from doing that. But then, like you're saying, Nicholson's making an option out wide. Eckersley was always bombing up as well on the left. Like, it was a bit frustrating for me watching that, because it's really the first time this season I've had any real complaints about Alexander's play and his distribution. But
overall, I think our decision making yesterday wasn't the best. No. I think because we didn't really get to grips with how hard we were getting pressed for a long period. Like the first 20 minutes, the decision making was terrible, and then the last 10 minutes, we had those decisions making. Do we play it out quick? We weren't doing it quick enough because we were quite kind of scatty. We didn't know what was going on. There was so much happening. Hibs were flooding guys into the box. It was long balls. We were pressing like so hard. Like I didn't think that we could keep that intensity up for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And they sort of like when we had that wee golden patch in the start of the second half, that's when Hibs sort of retracted a bit. That's obviously why they've done it. But like we'll do what Hearts did and sit in and then hit them in the last 10 minutes is what they did pretty well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, like especially the decisions that Alexander made when distributing was clearly a team tactic. Like I think it was a recognition that our front three aren't the greatest at holding the ball up on their own, with Keatings, Walker and Nicholson. So yeah, the risk there was that they'd lose it and like the Hibs would be immediately back on, as it's safer to play it short and play our passing game. What was interesting is what we did do, like when we'd reset, was quite often Patterson would be up basically on the halfway line to win a long ball.
Yeah.
But they did mix that up. There was a recognition. Yeah. There was a recognition later in the game that Nicholson could win headers, especially against Stevenson, but occasionally against Craig. So we were able to distract, like at least sort of sow a little bit of doubt into Hibs' minds. It wasn't like before when the ball was always going to the big man up front. There was at least a couple of options there that could happen. So, yeah, like I agree that it was
A little bit sick there.
frustrating that it.
No, continue. I'm just swallowing my own sick there.
Great.
Thanks.
So I agree that there was the frustration that you could see the potential for us to break in the way that we have done against other teams, but I think deliberately and rightly or wrongly, Robbie Nielsen said this isn't the game to do it in.
Yeah.
Now I understand the frustration from a lot of our supporters that we should be treating Hibs with quite so much respect, but I do think it was the right call.
Yeah, it's not bumming up Hibs or like whatever pro Hibs propaganda, but like they're easily the second best team in the league.
Aye. Yeah.
They're light years ahead of Rangers.
Yeah.
Queen of the South are a very good little team and will be up there in the mix. But they're right there. They're right up with us. If Hibs had been playing like this for the start of the season, they'd be way closer to us.
Yeah.
Like way closer. But they were a fucking shambles for like the first 2 months of the season, and that's why they're 19, 20 points adrift.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like they are getting the results against us and Rangers, and like that would normally suggest that they're better playing a counter attack against teams that take the initiative, but it's totally not that. Like the way that they've had success against us and Rangers is by pressing, by working really hard, by overwhelming, and theoretically that should work against like the smaller teams, the Dumbartons, the Alloas, whatever. But I don't know. It remains to be seen whether or not they'll still struggle in those games, whether it's a mentality thing or whether or not they now believe that they have the quality. Because if they make the playoffs, which they should do,
Yeah.
they should beat Rangers.
Oh, aye. Yeah.
Without question. I mean, they gave them a fucking spanking the other week, and
Yeah.
that was. I think even if even if Rangers had actually tried a lick in that game, they wouldn't have got close to Hibs. And it's not like Rangers are going to get any better over the course of the season.
Yeah, Rangers need like at least sort of like 6 new players and a decent coach in order to play any differently from the way they're doing now.
Rangers are genuinely hilarious. Like,
but so the general point is that I mean there were some other events later on in that half, but I don't think they're really that much worth going over. Like Callum Patterson had like a decent sort of low cross after a nice passing move that Oxley had to save down low. Blabin got released by Gomez with a really nice ball, and he had a sort of raking shot that just sort of rattled far of the past the far corner. But I mean, I think the general notes here. I mean, like the overwhelming thing that I took from this game is that we're crying out for either So or Carrick or some other striker to come in and give us an option, because Keating's, bless his wee heart, he tried the whole game. He tried so hard, but. I've said it before, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but like in games where we can play 4-4-2 and he can play off a So or a Carrick, perfect, absolutely his game. He'll snaffle chances and he'll score barrel loads. In games like this where we have to play 3 in the central midfield just to keep ourselves afloat.
yeah, it's just a shame that he was the only option yesterday. That's the thing, It's not a fault of his. It's just the way it is with injuries just now, which is a shame. But he really was never in the game at all yesterday. I think he got one shot off that was blocked, and that's about your lot, really. I mean, Nicholson and Walker were in it far more than him. It wasn't his type of game, and I feel a bit sorry for him, to be honest with you.
It was a totally thankless task being up top on his own, because really nothing was sticking in the final third yesterday, and when you reverted to long balls, he had 2 fucking behemoths next to him.
Aye.
That he was just getting no change out of. It has been like indicative of our season in terms of injuries, that like you've only ever really had one fit striker.
Yeah.
Like Sol was fit at the start, then dropped away, then El Hasnoui came in and was fit for a little bit, and then he got injured, and then Keatings has come in, and now like if he gets injured, you've only got Gary Oliver, and then there's never really 2 or 3 people fighting for a place right now, and that's why hopefully we can bring somebody in who can freshen it up a little bit, and it makes your in-game decisions easier as well when you've got 2 or 3 options up top, and you can cut teams open like Hibs when they're making things difficult for us.
Yeah, like there was just no way for us to change the game yesterday. I mean, Billy King had like a nice impact when he came on for Walker going wide. He created like one sort of really good cross, but like after that it was just much of a muchness, really. I think there are arguments playing both the wingers inside the way we did, both Nicholson and Walker tucked in, there's an argument that at least one of them at any one point should have been a bit further out, stretching the play. But again, it's like we were saying earlier, we can see why we played this way.
Well, we can see it, but if you're an old bigot or an idiot or a goon that just wants the ball pumped into orbit from the centre backs, then you can't see why we're playing that way, and you're the most infuriating fuck to sit behind ever.
That's completely accurate.
Yeah,
yes.
no, I can't disagree with that at all.
There was also, like, Blabbin could maybe have got forward a bit more, do you think, or was he just really being pressed back by his midfield?
It wasn't his best game, I don't think. His touch wasn't really there. He wasn't making the usual runs and stuff like supporting Keaton's. It might, an argument could be made that he was getting pressed back a wee bit and stuff like that, but it really wasn't his greatest hour anyway.
I thought it was interesting that Pardo was the furthest back midfielder, and Gomez was like the shuttler on the left of the midfield three.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because I kind of feel that maybe their naturally best positions are kind of the opposite of that. Like I've liked Pardo playing a little bit further forward and providing like sort of final passes into the strikers and things like that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Pardo was immaculate yesterday. Probably the only Hearts player who really was fantastic for the whole 90 minutes.
So I thought Pardo and Eckersley were, I think they both get pass marks, but everyone else really wasn't at the races, unfortunately.
But Pardo's interceptions, his passing, just his general awareness,
he's done it for the first sniff he got of getting into the first team. I mean, he's shown what he's all about. He's totally no frills. He's not probably got the engine of Gomez in terms of being able to just harry folk for 90 minutes, but his positionally and his tackling is excellent. I mean, for a wee guy, he just uses his body weight perfectly. Never lunges into challenges. I don't know if he's been booked yet. I've never seen him flying into a challenge.
Yeah,
the guy's he's a very accomplished footballer. Uses the ball really well.
His temperament and his positioning are
Did he not get booked for destroying that Queen of the South player on the wing?
Hopefully.
Which
he's been booked once.
Well, no, I'm a huge fan of Pardo. I really am. I think he's great. I hope he stays for a very long time.
Yes, and I really hope he didn't do it. Yeah. Any other thoughts on that game of football, gentlemen?
I would just like to say, on a personal note, that that I'm friends with Lewis Stevenson.
Yes. You used to babysit him?
Yeah, so our families know each other, and I've always stuck up for Lewis, despite playing for Hibs. But I would just like to go on record now as saying that he's a dick, his bud's a dick, their new baby's a dick, his mum and dad are dicks, and his two little brothers are dicks. Fuck Lewis Stevenson.
That's that's a We Have No Cares exclusive. The Daily Record would like to lift that for an interview piece during the week. Please credit We Have No Cares in the first paragraph.
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely.
But yeah, thanks. Great knowledge. I was going to say that I really, really enjoyed the game yesterday. I mean, not that I love dropping points to Hibs at any time, but I enjoyed being in a game where I genuinely thought there was a chance that we could lose. The football fan in me enjoyed having that tension, because we haven't had it very often this season.
It was tense. I had the fucking resting heart rate of a serial killer in a bouncy castle. It was fucking horrific.
And we still haven't lost.
Yeah, no, fuck.
It's mental, eh?
We're still unbeaten. That's great. Love that shit.
We've never looked like we're about to get a hosing off a team either. You've never watched in the derbies or at the games against Rangers, we're going to get an absolute fucking shoe in here. You've always thought we could keep this run going. I don't see us ever dropping, getting a loss at Tynecastle. I think we'll be unbeaten at Tiny all season.
Yeah,
that's my prediction. But
yeah.
Well, see, my point of view is, if we are going to lose, I'd rather we didn't, but if we are going to lose, I just desperately don't want it to be Hibs or Rangers that do it. I'd rather it was just some inexplicable freak game against Alloa where we have 20 shots on target and they score with an own goal that bats it off of Brad Mackay's eyelash or something like that.
Yeah.
Brad blinks one in.
Yeah, no, I'm the same as you, but obviously I'm hoping that we just don't lose at all. But if we were to lose, away at Wraith Rovers,
It'll get blown out of fucking proportion if they lose the game as well.
Yeah, because we've kept the game, well, the unbeaten run going for so long now. Yeah,
well, that's something to look forward to, eh?
yeah.
So that was our game against Hibs. I think you actually summed it up quite well, the whole Hibs phenomenon.
Yeah. I mean, if Hibs were as good as they keep telling us, then they'd have fucking beat us, but they haven't. So fuck them.
Fuck their stupid faces.
Exactly. It's like, but we've outplayed you, and so you get cool. Come back when you get 3 points against us. Yeah, shower of hammers.
You know, they love almost winning. Almost. So close.
They're daft on that shit. Yeah.
I don't think we need to labour the point again, but how ridiculous do they sound when they go, I missed. Summer of '98 special memories.
Relegated.
They'd be as well just fucking bringing a saucepan and a big wooden spoon with them, and banging it for 90 minutes.
So that we didn't get any emails this week. Very disappointed in all of you.
Oh, well.
It's pretty heartbreaking.
It is actually. Yeah.
It's like the first year that your mum stopped sending you a Valentine's card.
Your
When I
mum
was
stopped doing
19.
She still sends me one.
I don't doubt that for a second. She's a saucy old bint.
So that takes us on to songs, and the songs this week are going to be for Jamie Walker. Jamie, like I say, I think Miguel Gallardo was the man of the match. Rob made a shout for Eckersley.
Yeah.
But it's quite hard to sing songs for Miguel Gallardo. So and, well, the last time we sang about Jamie Walker, it was just because he'd scored a fucking cracker of a goal, so let's keep it going.
Yeah,
a cracker of a goal, Jamie Walker, here are your songs.
Okay.
We do have a song from our good friend Ian Porterfield, who should have been on the podcast today, but unfortunately got stuck in darkest up hall, which is not a fate I wish on anyone.
It's a shame for all involved.
So he's sent in this effort, which I'm going to attempt to do justice to.
See, it's hard, isn't it?
It really is. He's got interesting views on Scansion. He's I'm not certain English is his first language. He has been living in Australia for quite some time, so that might explain. Under Gary Lucky, baby, we were playing it long. Well, don't you worry, baby, don't worry, 'cause under Robbie, we're righting all of those wrongs. And Jamie Walker, he's a winger, a goal scorer, and he plays with vigour. He fucking hates the Hibs scum. And Jamie Walker, he is our winger, and in the derby he scored a zinger. He also hates the fucking Huns.
All right.
That was pretty dead, you know.
It was like he was here.
So thank you, Mr. Porterfield. I hope Paul hasn't killed you, as it's done to so many bright young men cut down in their prime.
Indeed. Oh, is it me?
It is you.
Okay, that's
Definitely.
Because Simon, do you want to break the habit and sing a song?
No, I'll get fucked. I told you, like, I'm not. Like, it's not that I'm like against singing, but like you sit next to me at the football. I don't even like sing songs at the football and that. I'm quite happy in my little pillar of misery that I sit in.
Yeah, no, you just sit there and like make plans to stab the kidneys of everybody who sits around us.
Try not to turn into a big knotted ball of hate through all the idiocy that I hear for 90 minutes. But yeah, continue with your sing songs.
Merry Christmas, Simon.
Mine's got a bit of a festive theme to it, actually.
Okay.
Yep. It's,
getting in there early.
His corner kicks in, swinging Jamie Walker as a winger we know. And then he for the Hibs with a zinger, Jamie Walker as a winger we know. That's it.
You went for a high tariff one. That's very, very difficult.
That's like a rap.
And boy, you got no flow. Okay, so if you give him half an inch of space, he'll spank in half a brace, 'cause Walker's great. If he gets nudged inside the box. He'll tumble like Jenga blocks, 'cause Walker's great, Walker's great, Walker's great. He fucks the high bays. The fuck? I don't know what I was trying with that last line. Forget it. Walker's great. Jamie Walker's great. So, first and last time Cast get mentioned on this show, hopefully. Simon, your opinion on those three efforts?
Rob's comes in third place, I'm afraid.
That's fucking fair, mate.
Mainly because you nearly kicked me in the face when you fell over trying to sing it the first time. And then I'd have to say Porterfield be second, but that your one, Nickel, wins it purely for the accent that you put on it, which is phenomenal. I'm hoping that somebody manages to get a song by the Baha Men one week. see how you do with that shit.
Simon, always supporting the casual racism of Simon.
Big Dave Whelan fan.
Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Heart of Midlothian, for not losing to Hibs once again.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that was a fairly terrible round of songs this week. So if you have any better ideas, send them to us. How would they do it, Robert?
We have a Gmail account, which is wehavenocares@gmail.com. You can also contact the Twitter, which is @wehavenocares, and then as ever individually, I am @RF Borthwick.
I'm @NickelHay.
I don't want anybody following me. Fuck yous. No, I'm only joking. It's Mr. Salmon. It's like phonetically you'll find it as fine.
Yeah.
Sure, there's an underscore in there as well, but it's just going to be it's just going to be a huge adventure, and you'll be so glad when you find them. All the audio links are on wehavenocares.tumblr.com, and it'll be on YouTube and in your heart forever.
Yeah.
Steve Crawford.
Shut up.
Hey, baby.
Amaruso, that's a run, it's a done!